Episode 179 of Werewolf the Podcast. It's bloody good. Bloody good, it's like a pun. Yeah. Anyway, what could you do if you feel like reading some spooky stuff for Halloween? Well, I recommend that you go and buy or go and look at two short stories written by Gregory Alexander Sharp, our very own Gregory Alexander Sharp. He writes these stories every Halloween and they are really bloody good. One's called The Bridge and the other is called The Trapdoor. What I'll do is I'll put the link down in the bit down there, the description bit where all the writing is, and you go along and have a look. I really recommend his writing. He's one of the best descriptive writers, one of those that I've ever read, so go look. Apart from that, follow us and be nice and kind to people. Whatever, it's nearly Halloween. Oh, hello. My name's Donald Ping. I've been seeing Donna for, I don't know, about 2 years. They've been pretty blissful, to be honest. Yeah, I know it's funny that she's called Donna and I'm called Donald. We laugh at that at least once daily. She's the same sense of humour as me. I'm so lucky. Not everyone finds, their Donna. It's weird that we're both of, I better do this the right way these days, of Chinese descent. Both our families moved to Britain decades ago. The crazy thing, I suppose number one for us, is that our families are from Xinjiang province and from villages that are only like 6 miles apart. It's a small world. I mean, that's a coincidence, but then we meet in Wick, in the north of Scotland of all places. What would be odds of that? Must be at least a 1,000,000 to 1. More like 1 billion or even, billions. Maybe I should go have a go at lottery this weekend. It's a miracle of sorts. I never thought I'd be lucky enough to find someone like her. It feels like I won lottery 5 times in a row, to be honest. I don't need money. I know, romantic bollocks, that's how I feel. I'm originally from down north. We share that joke too because I'm from Oldham, that's near Manchester. When you come from Manchester, we're known as northerners in England. For some reason, there's kind of an element of ridiculous pride that we're northerners and not from down south. She finds it funny to make me feel uncomfortable and calls me a southern boy. It's tough, when I'm a flipping southerner. Do you know what? I'm quite proud of Oldham. It's weird that no one knows where it is, but loads of famous people come from there. So Winston Churchill, you know who he is, I hope. Brian Cox, the physicist. Cal Cox, banging bombast DJ. And of course, the mystical Philip Schofield is used so much these days. There are loads more I could tell you about, but those are the standouts, sort of. I did my petroleum engineering degree in Aberdeen about 10 years ago, and I've been working in that industry for about 10 years. I won't bore you with what I do. Get it? I won't bore you with what I do. Sorry, it's an industry joke there, because I'm an expert borer. Get it? Boring. I do the maths for drilling from rigs. I know it's sad, but saying I have a boring job makes me smile. Honestly, it's not the most exciting job ever, but it makes me a lot of money. It really does. Sounds right good, doesn't it? Well, pretty good to make loads of cash. But when you live up there, there's like nothing to spend it on. I mean, after you've got your 7 different sized drones with different capabilities and ranges, there's no need to buy anything else, is there? What do you need to buy another drone for? My only hobby is flying drones. I love it. And I like videoing landscapes for my YouTube channel. I did try kickboxing once, but it bloody hurts. Sorry. I know what you really want to know is when we had our meet cute. See, I'm a modern man, romantic and everything. I know about this stuff. What you don't know what a meet cute is. God. My God, have you not watched a Sandra Bullock film? No, she's not from Oldham. I don't know where she's from, but in her rom-com films, there's always that point where the romantic protagonists bump into each other. Yeah, that's it. That's one of them meet cutes. Let me think. Oh yeah, there's that scene in Miss Congeniality where handsome detective tells the now forced feminine-looking Sandra Bullock that she's gorgeous. He suddenly realises that the dowdy woman in suit who acted like a beast is actually an incredibly good-looking woman. It's mad though, isn't it? Because our Sandra is like super hot as the dowdy suit wearer in my mind. But if you can't recognise Henry Cavill as Superman because he's wearing flipping glasses, then the Hollywood watching eyes of the people could pretend that Sandra was not hot in a suit, I suppose. I suppose it's better than a pair of glasses, being Clark Kent and then... Anyway, sorry, where was I? Of course, yeah, mine and Donna's meet cute. I was out in Wick at a stag do. Do you know where Wick is? Yeah, imagine arse end of anywhere. That's where Wick is. Do you know what a stag do is? In America they call them bachelor parties, I think. Now Wick is a small place, as I said, in arse end of Scotland, and does not have much in the way of adults entertainment, as it were. It's not Las Vegas by any means. There are no private gentlemen's clubs or casinos here. There is the local stripper Dorsey. She works in laundrette during the day and is a mistress of the veiled arts in the evenings. I won't knock Dorsey, but I know her quite well because I drop in my washing, once a week, and because of that I know all about her and her kids. She's got 10. She needs to get a TV in the house. He needs to leave her alone a bit. I think if she stripped in front of me it would be awkward, to say the least, the next time I took my pants in. Oh shit, got off topic once more. I'm like that, I'm just crazy. So we're on this do, and at the end of the night we were all proper hammered, drunk as skunks, and we went to look for food. Now, the guys don't realise that, do they? But they were being mildly racist by saying that they wanted a chinky. You've got to laugh, haven't you, really? They genuinely don't mean it. They've just been brought up in a society where that is what these places were called by their parents. I don't tend to eat Chinese takeaways. Oh, I'm not snobby, but it's not like home. The food they make is good, but it's not Chinese. And when you've got a mum who can cook like mine, it seems wrong. Anyway, I said I'd go, so we went into Great Wall Takeaway on Dempster Street, and there she was. She was behind the counter, taking the orders, and our eyes met, and that was it. I was not silent. I couldn't speak, and she got all embarrassed looking at me. Do you know what? I had 10 takeaways over the next 2 weeks. She knew I was really there. I obviously did as well, but it took Donna's sister Lisa to step in and ask me for my number for Donna, who rang me about 10 minutes later in the restaurant, and yeah, that's where it started. We had a coffee the following week, and then I took her out to one of the fanciest restaurants I could afford the week after that. And well, life felt complete for the both of us, and now I'm getting married on Saturday. My family's come up, and I'm out with my 4 brothers and my dad and all his pals from down there and up here. It's my stag night. There are about 14 of us, and we're not going to see Dorsey. You might know, but drinking is not an hobby in Scotland. It's part of the lifestyle, You now know this, and will understand that we went out at about 10:30 a.m. with a plan of drinking all day and probably tomorrow. We had 2 shots of whiskey with our cornflakes before we left the house. Our first bar we went into was Crown. It was pretty dead at this time, apart from old Seamus, who had his stool in corner. Seems to flipping live here as part of the furniture. In fact, his stool's got his name on it. He is in his late 60s and is fed on a constant supply of people buying him Guinness. Apparently, no one has ever seen him eating food. No one's ever seen him go to the supermarket or buy anything. It's my day, he lives on Guinness. There was a stranger at the bar. I don't get many strangers in Wick. And behind the bar was a new barmaid. She was stunning and sort of half Asian. I'd never seen a barmaid like her before. She could have been in films, She was amazing. In front of her was this guy, he must have been in his 40s. Proper nice dressed. And he's big and brawny and seemed to be arguing with barmaid. She was looking quite nervous. I was kind of even afraid of him. It was, yeah. My brother John held my arm as we watched the scene. He knew what I'm like. We could feel the tension in the atmosphere of the pub. And then suddenly man stood and slammed bar stool he had been sitting on into the bar. It completely wrecked the bar. I mean, the amount of damage it caused was incredible. It was I don't know. The woman behind the bar laughed, which was weird. She just laughed and fell back against the racks of glasses and bottles as they shattered and fell off. It were proper bonkers. And then the man turned towards us. I could see he was really angry, but dickhead could not do this. He couldn't, could he? Did he think he was a big man scaring this poor woman? Jesus, was he drunk at this time? The woman turned towards us and seeing us, she looked like shock and in a way pleading. Not pleading for help though.
If I were you, I would just get out.
She yelled. It was weird though. It was as though she was talking to us. But she was obviously talking to man, wasn't she? She had to be. Did she not?
Please, just get out now.
She yelled again at us. The man looked up and saw us. It was weird. There was no shock. Hooded eyes widened and an inner light that scared me shone in there. Oh, it was right. Proper frightening. And John and Chris, my brothers, stepped up to block his way. They were doing gentlemanly thing, I know they were, but in this case, I could tell they shouldn't. I could see that.
No? No? Oh well, don't listen to me. I know nothing. Good luck with that,
said the barmaid, and then the man in front of us just changed. Well, ping, and here I am. And where the fuck is that? Oh, I'm sitting on a stool at some bar with the beautiful woman. Oh, fucking Lucifer still touching the very tip of my nose. Yeah, it's difficult to believe, I know, but Lucifer is touching the end of my nose. It's not an unpleasant feeling for the lady herself, is my dream woman. That's what you see when you see Lucy. You see the absolute object of your lecherous, lustful ideas. And I have to say, my imagination is magical.
Boop,
she says, withdrawing her hand from my nose with a wink as though I was some naughty toddler. Oh, the blind rage that I have to contain. I can't do anything to this woman. I know that from fucking bitter experience, but the rage, ragey rage, oh the rage, that is quickly replaced by a moment of mild panic as I realised that when we left the scene of the potential crime, I was in my wolf form, and being in such a form, if I was now human, I would be naked. I quickly did the werewolf once-over pat down a bit like you humans do for your key, wallet and phone. I touched the top of my head first, no ears up there. I looked at my paws. There were hands, and then I patted my bits. I was wearing trousers. Now, you may be wondering if I would have worried about being naked at the bar. Well, no's the simple answer. It would not have been the first time such a thing has happened, and it won't be the last, hopefully. But it would have caused somewhat of an incident to have suddenly had a gigantic wolf sitting at the bar, or some naked man. For some reason, I'd changed, and my wolf soul Fen looked as confused as I did as he sat beside me at the bar. I suppose really the question of which would have caused more panic in this pub may have been arguable. The giant wolf or the naked man. Well, I suppose it depends on the wokeness of the clientele. Luckily, the fuckers in this place, well, they looked asleep. She, her, Lucy fucking fur laughed at this for a moment as I flapping faffed around myself.
Everything there?
She asked, smirking. Fecking smirking. She caught me off guard for a moment, so I was able to reply as I nodded. It's the lack of everything being there that is the better outcome, to be honest, I told her. She laughed again. She wasn't laughing with me, she was laughing at me, and that hurts my feelings. So in response to my feelings being hurt, I wanted to hurt her so badly. But in this case, it was a big but, and as well, as we all know, big butts cannot lie. I couldn't hurt her because she's the devil, but fuck it, I might as well give it a good damn go. So I launched myself forward, full of freshly fermented anger, and snatch at her across the bar. She does nothing to evade this and simply rolls her eyes and smiles at my move. As I grab her, my arm bursts into a fur-covered black limb and claws, and a powerful hand grab her throat and puncture that delicious skin at the white throat. A sense of ecstasy hits me as blood gouts from the spots the claws have pierced. Oh, the deliciousness of the...
Boop,
she says, withdrawing her hand from my nose with a wink, as though I was some naughty toddler. Oh, the blind rage that I have to contain. I I can't do anything to this woman. I'm sat back at the bar, looking at a smiling Lucy. I turn with preternatural speed, picking up a pint glass to my right and quickly launching it at her face. It simply stops halfway between us and sits in the air, floating. It's a little perplexing, to say the least. I stare at it, and she stares at it, and then I stare at her, and then she stares at me. Finally, she gives me that smile of joy, and boy, is she enjoying this. I think just to mess around with my head a little more and show me who is the boss of the situation, she reaches out to the floating glass in the air and touches the bottom. The gentle poke she gives it sparks her interest in what the outcome of doing so will be. She looks as though she's doing, some kind of 9th grade experiment. The pint glass begins to spin in the air and she laughs again.
Ooh, nice.
She says, nodding at me with a knowing look.
Ooh, again.
She says before.
Boop.
She says, withdrawing her hand from my nose with a wink as though I was some naughty toddler. Oh, the blind rage that I have to contain. I can't do anything to this woman. I change into the wolfman and tear her head from her shoulders. Her body does not fall, it just lifts the fingers of its right hand and waves its middle finger at me. That's confusing. I look at the now bloody head in my hand. It smiles and blows a fucking kiss.
Boobity boop.
She says, withdrawing her hand from my nose with a wink as though I was some naughty toddler. Now, just as the man, I leap over the bar, bodily taking it to the ground. She giggles as I pin her on her back. My hands are around her throat and I start to squeeze. She grabs me by the wrists, taking my hands from her with what seems no effort. She just coughs a little frown.
You never asked me.
I look at her confused.
You've never asked me for a safe word.
She says, holding my body weight with no effort. I shake my head.
It's pneumonultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
She tells me, returning my hand to her throat with a giggle.
Boop.
She says, withdrawing her hand from my nose with a wink as though I was some naughty toddler. Oh, the blind rage that I have to contain. I can't do anything to this woman. I throw a punch.
Shooby-dooby-doop boop.
She says, withdrawing her hand from my nose with a wink as though I was some naughty toddler. Oh, the blind rage I have to contain. I can't do anything to this woman. I turn into the wolf, flying forward, jaws open to bite.
Boop boop.
She says, withdrawing her hand from my nose with a wink as though I was some naughty toddler. Oh, the blind rage that I have to contain. I can't do anything to this woman. I stand up, staring into her eyes. Hey, come on, lad, says my wolf soul friend, turning to the door. Again, using that word, rage. I was raging at my impotence. I turned to leave with him in disdain.
Boop.
She says, withdrawing her hand from my nose as though I am some naughty toddler. Oh, the blind rage that I have to contain. Okay, stop fucking doing that. I get it. I can do fuck all to stop you from whatever it is you're doing. What the fuck do you fucking want? I ask her, exasperated, and place my palms down on the wood of the bar top. I spread my fingers and try to look like I'm not going to try to rip her head off or anything. She's a right bit. Fen does not quite get through his damning name-calling when she laughs.
No need for that, Fen.
She says, turning to look at him and doing something that I'd never seen before. She patted him on the head and then scratched him behind his left ear. Somehow, she touched him. The untouchable soul was touched. I think Fen was much more shocked than anyone, to be honest. He initially enjoyed it before he realised it should not be happening. I felt his mental confusion.
There. That's not so bad, is it?
She asked the giant black shadow.
Sorry for the disappointment of stopping you from playing with your food at the school, but I can't have that at the moment. It was a costly move to make on my part, as that murderous spree was fated, but the outcome would have been you hunted down and disappeared.
She said.
That I was not ready for yet. You're just too much fun.
She was so fresh and breezy and unconcerned with me that and what I was thinking, that all this seemed okay.
Can I get you a drink and have a little chat of a sort? It could be helpful to both of us, to be honest.
She asked. I had it. I stood. I would not be treated like this. I grabbed the bar stool and smashed it bodily against the bar. It broke into parts and Lucy stepped back from me. She was laughing. Of course she was. But there was no boop. There was no step back in time. She just looked at me, shaking her head in pity.
You know, we'll have this conversation at some point,
she said. I turned to the door. A large group of men were entering the bar and... oh, this was perfect. Two of them stepped up to fight for Lucy's honour. Fen and I gave a little vocal laugh. Panic must have hit Lucy for some reason. Why no boop?
Get out!
She shouted at the men. They ignored her, thinking that she was stressed and needed help, and kept streaming into the bar.
Please get out,
she told the men, a note of exasperation in her words. I smiled at Fen. He smiled at me. We...
The Professor. Zula is finally asleep again. The medical staff have finally got over the confusion of the rebirth, saving of Ben. They just don't understand what's happened. I suppose I could try to explain, but what do I say? It was a miracle? Was it a miracle? Can the devil do miracles? Oh, well, the devil came in and started his heart with that die on top of that machine over there. It was still there, the die. It was real. If I tell them, they may find a bed or padded room for me in another part of this establishment. Now that everything's settled, I have to take my mind back to the world of work. Is it work? Or is it volition? It feels wrong and brutal to work now, but so much is happening at the moment that I need to keep my finger on the pulse. Well, I suppose that was almost a pun. Do forgive me. Finger on the pulse. Okay. I took my damned phone out of my pocket, a much hated but needed piece of modern world technology. I've over 20 new notifications. That's not a good sign. I open Signal, which is a bit like WhatsApp, but for the British Army. I read the first notification. In this case, I'm afraid I can't tell you who the message was from. Official Secrets Act of the United Kingdom and all that. It read as a newspaper headline. 12 dead in public house in Wick. Death attributed to werewolf. I messaged back quickly. I'm currently in Aberdeen. I'll be with you in the next 5 hours. Send. The reply was instant, which isn't always the case even with instant messaging. The chopper will be on deck with you in 12 minutes. I rather like this level of precision. Bring it on.